Good morning to you all. To God be the glory. Happy Thursday. Just wanted to go real quickly on what I'm about to introduce to you this video. And the video that I'm about to show you is going to be about a person who's going to be speaking about the culture of the religion of Islam. And it's a lot of things people really don't understand and they don't follow. We just follow things because for whatever reasons. But people need to understand things. That's a foreign culture. It's a foreign religion. It was never accepted. It really never was accepted in America. Even back in the times when Elijah Muhammad and other Muslim religious leaders were in America. If you look at Martin Luther King, I mean, not Martin Luther King, Malcolm's grave, you can see that there is nothing written on his stone when he passed away, even though he was an American and he was a Christian before he went into Islam. And notice that none of those Islamic so called brotherhood done anything after his death. None of them put nothing on his grave. They haven't done anything really powerful but do a million man march or whatever, something like that. And then after that we don't see them do nothing else to improve, you know, living conditions for whatever reasons that they don't like in society besides trying to overthrow our government and always throwing insults and things and blaming the white man for all the problems you see today in America. They need to look at themselves. Look at Malcolm's grave. That speaks for itself. Of Look at Malcolm X's grave. That will tell you how this Brotherhood of Islam is and how the culture is. You know, they blame white people for everything, but they don't look at their ignorance. So let me go into our Father's Prayer, and I'm gonna let y'all read this. See this video. Some of you might already saw it before. I got it off somebody else's channel. I'm gonna introduce that channel in a minute, but I wanted people to hear more on Islamic religion. I call it an Islamic religion because it's not a culture that came here in America. It didn't root here in America. It didn't come from America. It came from the Middle East and it came from places like Africa and Asia and places. It didn't come from over here in the Western culture. But they've been spreading this religion. You know, it's basically it's another way of trying to use religion to do wickedness. And that's the way I see it because it's a foreign religion. And, you know, being that people put in that we don't want to discriminate, we're not discriminating when you already opened up a mosque. You allow them to build mosque and you allow them to build the, temples and things of that nature in your land. You didn't discriminate against them. They have to make the right conscious decision. They living in somebody else's country. They should know what they should and should not do. Entering a a culture, another custom in another place. And at least they giving you the right to have the religion freedom that you have when they allowed you to build that mosque in their country. And you can't give people a whole mile. You know, these people don't belong in our society. I'm sorry. They bring too much problems into our world. They don't think with the right brain. They always want to come at you with discrimination, and it's not discrimination. It's just the way y'all are, and your culture just don't mix with our culture here. And you know, you just try to come in people's country and you try to force your ideology, and that's what makes it even worse. When people are trying to tell you, no, this ain't acceptable, and y'all still want to do it, it becomes worse. So anyway, let's listen to this video. And the person name is Unfiltered Debates 2. That's where I got this video from. So let's listen to it from the beginning.
Jesus had no slaves. Let me tell you something, please. For people of color, black people, Islam is not for us. In fact, according to them, black people cannot go to heaven. Let me help you. I'm here to tell you the truth. One of Muhammad's slaves, the slaves he loved to trade, were black people. Most of them don't know their faith. If you see a Muslim telling you there is radical Islam, it's a lie. Islam is just radical. They invite you to the faith once, twice you don't do it, they could take your life.
This former Muslim turned preacher just made a shocking reveal about the ideology behind Islam, and it's already going viral. He is Prophet Lovey Elias of Revelation Church, Los Angeles. This is a young man who grew up inside the Sharia system, saw its gears up close, and decided to check out before it got too late. By the end of this video, you'd wish America has the spine to do the same. Watch out how he connects the dots between ancient Islamic texts, their modern tactics, and the sleepy Christian response that is letting all these anomalies happen in the first place. Let's get...
Because Christians don't know how to protect their heart. They think everything is acceptable in your heart with Christ. And everything don't belong in your heart with Christ. Your heart is where Christ lives. And Jesus said already that certain things are just not going to be allowed to be, you should not allow to let in. Okay? You have to guard and protect your heart because that's where life flows from. And the thing is that people don't understand what that means. You think you're supposed to open your heart to everybody's culture and religion? No. No, you're not. Because even though you might like something, it may be dangerous for you. So that's why you have to examine things very carefully before you even think about entering in. A lot of people into these Islamic cultures. They come in all kind of religions. This Islamic culture. You understand? All of this Sharia law, all of this comes in from Islamic culture, even in some Christian religions. I find them to be Islamic culture. Like these Hebrew Israelites and you know, these other religious groups that they have out there that just come out of nowhere. They just religious groups, the Hebrew Israelites. They have some religion called Yahweh out there, and then they mix it with Islam culture with Christian faith. Don't it don't mix. Either you a Christian or you're not. Either you hot or you cold. Jesus already told you no. You can't be mixing all these religions into your faith. It has to be one God. And that's the God of the Bible. You can't mix all these other gods and call this religion. And a lot of people get caught in these religious. That's why we not religious. We say religion freedom, meaning you worship the whatever faith you believe in, but do it in freedom, not being forced to do it. And if you want to worship Allah in freedom, then you can worship Allah in freedom. If you want to worship Christ in freedom, because that's the only way you're going to be free anyway, is the Christian faith. You have a choice. You either going to choose heaven or you're going to choose to live in hell for the rest of your life here on earth, because ain't no way in the world you want to live in a religion that's going to keep you restricted from doing certain things because somebody telling you you can't do it, instead of allowing you to give you choices to do it, and you know things of that nature. Like nobody should be stopping you from being who God wants you to be. God gave everybody their own true identity and their own gifts, and that shouldn't have to be controlled by anybody but the person who holds it. So let's go on
into it.
Sit for 1 second. I'm going to say this and I promise you I'm going to be done. Because I want you to have this and understand this. Muslims don't have a faith. Let me explain to you. If you are any intelligent person that understands history, and understands religious studies, you will see how many holes are in the narrative. It is impossible for you to believe it unless you are born in it. Because when you take the text and look at it, you will see that there's no way this can be from God. You can't be a prophet and marry a 6-year-old and consummate or cement your wedding when...
Right from the jump, you can tell the prophet isn't here to pull punches or tick boxes. What he's saying is as alarming as it is true. You can't be a prophet for all times and marry a 6-year-old, consummating the marriage at 9. If the example is supposed to apply across eras, that's a problem that doesn't go away with wishful thinking or selective memory. It's the kind of hard truth that brings to mind the Enlightenment thinkers who questioned sacred cows in Europe centuries ago. Voltaire didn't spare the church, and Lovey isn't sparing this. Look at this. It's the sort of intellectual honesty that used to define Western discourse before political correctness turned every meaningful debate into a minefield. And here's where the hard knocks gets even crazier.
It's 9. If you are the prophet for all times, then your action should apply for all times. Jesus had no slaves. Let me tell you something, please. For people of color, black people, Islam is not for us. In fact, according to them, black people cannot go to heaven. Let me help you. I'm here to tell you the truth. One of Muhammad's slaves, the slaves he loved to trade, were black people. One of them was called Bilal, who, when he died, Muslims lied to people to say that he was the first black Muslim. No, he wasn't. He was forced into it. They made him make the call to prayer, not because they favored him. He was a slave. He actually asked the person who took...
And then when you do study religion and when you do study ancient history, you're going to find out that that Islamic Muslim culture was always about slaves. That's where slavery came from. It came from the Middle East, it came from Africa, and it came from Asia. It didn't come from America. It didn't come from America. They brought those slave, but America turned it into something else, and America destroyed it, and America built it to be something else other than slavery. It's called an employer and an employee. That's what America did. You pay for the way you pay that person the wages for their work. We built that system that they want to tear down now. The so-called ICC, the International Court of whatever does world global, because that is an Islamic culture, is an Islamic law, it is an Islamic way of punishing people or to getting people to submit to their religion. And they will use all kind of loopholes and games to creep their politics or they kind of religion into the United States of America. But see, America was so ahead of the game because of the fact that our forefathers that wrote the Constitution before they death and they passed on power to the next person. They made sure they warned them about certain things, and this is one of them, about poor immigrants in America, immigrants in their politics, and everything else. They shouldn't even be sitting in our government. They shouldn't even be sitting in our politics. That's what if you read the letter that George Washington wrote to John Adams in 1794, you will see that. And it was written, inspired by the Bible. The Bible was the book to go to for everything that they needed to do back then. They didn't have all the stuff distracting them like they got today. YouTube and all these different platforms or anything of that nature to and to encourage them with the right. These men had to sit hours and days and hours in rooms with just a candle and write down some of the things that went on during their time of service in building that Constitution and in building the United States of American government. Okay, as we started to expand on our territories and how we had to expand on our borders and how we had to keep things, all of that, that's what you call building. These people did no building nothing but destroy human lives, and that's what they do. That's why their country is in the poverty that it is. They got so many people living there, and I'm not talking about the ones who live in rich and famous, the families of the rich and famous. But if your family ain't part of the rich and famous in their class system, you starve. And that's why they all trying to run out of America and live in America and everything, because they don't have a good government. Their government is built with crap. And it also has a lot to do with your religious beliefs that comes from within. What goes on the inside is coming on going to be manifest on the outside. And whatever your religion is teaching you, it doesn't teaches you truth in Christ. It teaches you, yeah, basic things to know how to put a roof over your head and how to be nice to people, but it doesn't teaches you how to challenge things, that to know it from good from evil, if it's good for humankind, if it's not good for humankind. And to me, that religion is not good for humankind, because nothing good comes out of it. It doesn't produce anything good. But Christ's fruit, the fruit from the eating from the fruit of life from the Bible, it produces life. Let's go on.
Him from the care of Muhammad and said, will you free me for the sake of Allah or keep me? And they kept him a slave. This is a reality. So when you see Nation of Islam being black people, it is deception. But let me tell you why it works and why Christians were weak.
The growth of the Muslim community in the West is driven by deep indoctrination and strategic ideological expansion. Taqiyya, which is the allowance to use deception to advance the cause.
Well, it ain't gonna be that deep anymore, because now people are waking up, and a lot of people are starting to realize by what they see, not only by what they see, but what they experience, even in their own countries, that this is not a good religion, and it doesn't really bring any good fruit to society. It darkens society. It puts society in fear. It's terrorism, and everything of that nature is not a good faith. It's not a. It doesn't have any faith. It's a man overpowering people, and it's done by a group of people who think with the same kind of evil mind to try to overpower and control people so that they can stay in control, and the people will never have a chance to voice their voices are quiet, and if they do speak and say anything, they will have to suffer some type of punishment or of cruelty or whatever. That's not something nobody wants to. You can't live like that. That's not life. That's death. That's a death cult. When you can't express your thoughts, and you can't express the way you feel, and you being intimidated and silenced, that's not life. That's death. And that's what this cult brings. And people that's been caught up in it when they were babies, they don't understand that. They think this is okay, because they've been indoctrinated so deeply with it, to think that it's okay to walk around in society looking like that and acting the way they do towards the way they, practice their religion in other people's countries. Praying out on the street and ringing bells and doing stuff like that is God don't teach us to be disrespectful to other people that don't practice the same faith. God don't teach us to put people in that kind of, you know, way discomfort. No. But this is what they do. And then they got the nerve to come into other people's politics and then try to change it. No, we don't change it. We work within the frame of the Constitution, but we don't change anything. We fix it and we amend things because we don't change it, but we fix it. And that's what they mindset don't understand. Because a lot of them are born at that, some of these people, these people from that culture, they marry within their own family members. So the blood, so that can also be some growth on the brain. They functioning, they look normal, they seem like they normal, but they not normal because the brain can't function where the equilibrium is not accepting certain things to be able to come in because they never used those ways, that way of life. They never thought in that kind of direction. So it's gonna be kind of hard to get the brain to understand that. It's I forgot what they call it. It's inside the brain. If you never used it before, those things won't ever open. It just locks in that certain place, and it won't open up to it. And that's exactly what happened to like people that's brought up in the Muslim faith. They can't open up to the Western society. Only thing they know how to do is grab onto the things that they know, like our laws. They're gonna try to do something with our laws and try to manipulate it, but they can't manipulate it because the laws it's locked in. It's locked in, and they don't understand that it's locked in through spirit. It's locked in through the spirit that speaks on that document, and it locks in through God. You can't come and change something in somebody else's country when it was already built the way it was by God. And the way your system is built by man, y'all not going to let people come and try to change the way y'all feel about Sharia law in your Islamic culture and in your Islamic country or whatever like that. No. So you can't come in other people's country and try to enforce it on other people.
Is not a persuasion technique that should be employed for any honest cause, especially not for religion. This isn't conspiracy talk. It's observing patterns anyone paying attention has seen, from the Ottoman Empire's use of deception in diplomacy to modern lobbying efforts in Western capitals. But that's just the beginning. You have to wonder how many comfortable suburbs in Sydney or Melbourne are slowly shifting under the weight of these dynamics, while the rest of us scroll past.
They have indoctrination. They are so strongly indoctrinated that it is not about what the book says. There's something called taqiyya in Islam. Taqiyya means I can lie to you in order to get my message across. They say act weak until you become a majority, then take them over. Right now, I've been posting this because of some things that I've seen coming. The Muslim community is growing dramatically. Here's the reason why it's growing dramatically. Number one, it is the nature of people who come from other, especially the Middle East or African continent, to produce more than the Western world. So for every household, you may have 1 or 2 kids. They'll have like 8 kids that are indoctrinated. What is an indoctrination? It's an ideology. It's a way of thinking.
True to tone, indoctrination turns faith into an ideology that doesn't bend to evidence. Most Muslims don't even know their faith deeply, yet the system keeps expanding through higher birth rates and unyielding commitment. It's like watching a cultural snowball gaining speed down a hill. It's small at first, then unstoppable. And the craziest part, it's 100% real, playing out in real time from London's Tower Hamlets to Dearborn, Michigan. But hold on, it gets even better.
In America, in New York, let me show you how we are so easy. How can New York, a place where 9/11 happened, where they ran planes into the Twin Towers and shouted,
You know what? America is not stupid on that one. I don't think America is sleeping on that one. We not there yet. Okay, we not there yet. Because Madani already started his shit. Okay, he already started his shit when he came out calling for an arrest um for BB, and nothing's been done yet. But people's been talking, and people been talking. So that should tell you right there. The families of 9/11 is out there with petitions that they don't want him at the service, at the memorial, or anything for the victims of the 9/11, and he still wants to convince himself that it's gonna be okay for him to be there. So, and then Tom Homan already told them he's amping up on ICE. Some police officers are even tired of Madani shit. Okay, so he just gonna put himself in his own death trap. That's the way I look at it. I just feel that I don't think America is going to allow him to be the idiot that he is. They're going to get as many people as they can because it's been done before. And America knows just what they're doing and they know just how to do it. When they got to deal with a radical, when they got to deal with a radical person like Madani, they want to keep all this attention on him. And they done it before. Some of us just don't remember our history. But it has been done before, how they make you look like you getting away with it and you're not getting away with it because they have to do this in a very sophisticated way to stop him, so that they won't injure or harm other people. And plus, you gotta wait because there's some people that's just not really sure yet, and they doing it, and they out there with Madani, but they not sure what they doing. They being forced, or they probably being, you know, harassed in some type of way, so bullied or whatever. So you got to be very careful how you have to deal with a person like Madani, who's a real known terrorist in your face. He's a terrorist. And nobody gonna say tell me anything differently. He's a terrorist. Okay? So anyway, let's go on.
Allahu Akbar. You elect a mayor with the same belief, praying in Times Square, doing time of prayer, saying Allahu Akbar, we are taking over and you can do nothing about it. You don't understand what is happening right before you. You are trying to believe for things. They have an ideology they live by. And you cannot fight an ideology, you cannot fight an idea with faith. You have to fight it with an idea.
You have to kill it.
You cannot fight an ideology with prayer. You fight it with an ideology. Most Muslims don't even know their faith. Listen, I grew up in it. I grew up around it. Some of my good friends were Muslims. Most of them don't know their faith. If you see a Muslim telling you there is radical Islam, it's a lie. Islam is just radical. They invite you to the faith once, twice you don't do it, they could take your life. According to their religion, it's fine. It's not radical Islam, that's just what Islam is. When they take over a country, if you're a Christian, you have to pay extra tax. If you can't pay tax, you either convert or die. Iran was an...
Well, I'm gonna get out of here, y'all, but I wanted y'all to be aware of this, and I'm gonna let this video just play, and I got to get myself dressed and get ready to go. So, you can always watch the replay of this video. I just wanted to bring this to people's attention. If they interested, they watch it. If not, then hey, so be it. Stay in the dark. So, I gotta go, but I'll be back later, if God's willing, to talk with everybody on it. Some more content. So you all take care and be blessed. Peace.